Hey guys, I'm here with my client Kevin from Villa Exteriors DMV, and he is doing amazing in the program. We've been working for 3 months together now, and so he's been getting some amazing results. And I just wanted to have this interview to share with you guys and show you what is possible with Instagram ads. A lot of people think, hey, my client is not on Instagram. They're just not scrolling. But Kevin, he has clients on Instagram. And the rest of my clients, they have clients on Instagram. And here's the thing, you just have to put yourself out there, and that's how you're going to get more clients through Instagram and also word of mouth, Google, everything else that you do right now, it will just blow that up as well because more people know about you. So, Kevin, great to have you here, man. Um, can you just give a quick little description of your business, what you do, how long you've been running it for, services, everything like that?
Of course. So my name is Kevin with Villa Exteriors and Remodeling. We specialize in all exterior work such as roofing, siding, gutters, window replacements, and much more. We also do interior home remodeling as well. So, we're a full home renovation team and company. We've been established here for about a year and a half, going into 2 years now. We have over 20 years of experience within the industry as far as new construction, residential, and just doing all exterior work with general construction itself. And we do work in DC, Maryland, and Virginia.
Okay, yeah, nice. So a lot of people think, hey, I can't find my ideal client on Instagram. And you're here, a contractor. People are looking for contractors on Instagram. And obviously you were doing content before, we actually started working together. And so you knew that there are people looking on Instagram. But was there anything that you were struggling with before actually joining the program? Or any, thoughts that you had about Instagram before joining the program that may have been like, hey, my ideal client is not on here, or what were your, thoughts or struggles before joining?
I've always had the mentality as far as, utilizing my platforms for business, as beforehand I was an online fitness coach transitioning into the construction company. I knew that, leads were out there as far as businesses out there on social media. And with the content, like you said, I've been consistent with the content, and it was just approaching the viewers and the right demographic that I needed as far as serious clients in that age demographic that we could go ahead and cater to and actually close to work with. So, at the end of the day is we weren't really struggling. We were still getting some leads, but we wanted to go ahead and put, more fire to the fuel and actually be successful at those leads and actually targeting to the people we wanted to work with, right? As far as, working with them, having that initial consultation. But once I came across your page, a lot of times, I was just like, we need to go ahead and reach out to you and set up a meeting, and everything went well from there. So at the end of the day, is I had to take that step and just take the leap of faith to actually invest my company and myself into another person that knew what they were doing rather than instead of me trying to figure it out by myself and not having that time, right?
Right,
So
right.
you gotta pay to play, and you gotta pay for your time with someone, your time is very valuable, and you want to make sure that you can invest it with people who specialize in their craft, just like people, hire us because we specialize at a certain service and we're good at it, right? So I think that people have to realize that you're always going to have to invest in a professional, no matter what services you think that you can be at or you think you can learn this yourself. Everything takes time, and once you focus that
Yep.
energy into something else, you're never going to be able to actually grow your business.
Yeah. I mean, you said something that just makes sense. With Instagram ads, you are adding fuel to the fire. And
Mhm.
so you already were making content. And what you had told me at the beginning of the program was, hey, I'm just trying to expand and blow this thing up. Like I'm trying to be known. I'm trying to be number one. I want to be the go-to contractor. And
Mhm.
so with that being said, I mean, you basically did that within, a month and a half where people just started knowing you. They would come to you, they'd be like, hey, you're the person in the ads, like, and they knew your face. And so when you came to my program, just like before joining, how many times do you actually think you saw my face and you saw my ads or my content?
I saw it 3 times, and like I told you before, we were working with Jose, which is our content creator. He was working with you, and then I just, started to pick his brain and see, what you were knowledgeable in. And, I saw you 3 times at the end of the day, just like everybody else sees it. They're like, okay, first time they see it, cool. Like, this looks interesting. Second guy, they're like, who is this guy? Third time, it's like, all right, enough is enough. They're kind of, you're all over their feet. They either get tired of seeing your stuff, they get annoyed, or that person is, looking to invest or looking to make that time to see you, but they just don't pull the trigger because they're afraid, right? So at the end of the day, that person really has to invest in themselves and, reach out to you because, they see the stuff they see your content because obviously it's an ad, but again, it can either resonate with them or not. So it's at the end of the day, it's you gotta pay to play. And now that you started doing it, and now I'm doing it, and it all makes sense.
Right, right. And I mean, what have your biggest takeaways, actually been from the program so far? So I know we've gone through the whole entire thing now, but what has been the biggest thing that, really kind of excited you or blew you away with the program?
There's three things that I personally like about the program and working with you is the first thing is obviously the communication. So if we have any questions or concerns, I can address that to you. Sometimes you don't answer on text messages, but that's because you use Slack. I know you prefer that, but I'm more of a direct person. But regardless, with that being said, you still answer within the 24 hours. With that being said, your communication is always good. You're always involved in the chat that we have. So it's nice that so the first thing is communication, right? I'm big on communicating. You're always there when we have questions and you answer them within that time frame, which is great. You want to be working with somebody that answers your questions and not just collect something, collects the funds, leaves you stranded. And at the end of the day, most of this is virtual, right? So that's also a scare for some people is that they're scared to make the investment. They don't hear from you. They feel scammed, right? And you're not going to be getting that here working with you. The second thing is the community you build within the group that we have on Slack, which is working with other highly motivated business owners. And it's nice because we all work in different fields so we can all actually grow together as a team and feed off each other and use their services. For example, I work with Jeff and he does power washing and we use him as a subcontractor for our work, right? So we get to work together, but I built that relationship with him in the group chat and now we have consistent work, right? So, and that's just one person within the group, right? Which is nice to have.
Right.
And then the third thing would be just the third thing is that you're always on top of everything that we need to be as far as if we're behind on tasks that we need to do requirements, you follow up and check on us to make sure that we can actually get ahead and you're excited, right? You're following up with everybody, not just one person. And then also that you do have these meetings now that you implemented every week for all of us to be involved, ask questions, and continue to grow, which is very important. Continuing education is key with anything you do. And sometimes we can't make it, but you still have it recorded. So it's our responsibility to go back and make time for it. So those are my top three takeaways that maybe other people doing this are not doing. And that's why it's good. And I'm ready to see what's in the program, the second program that you have. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, guys, again, like I did not just build my program to have an entrepreneur who comes in and be like, hey, I'm just alone. It's just one-on-one with me and you. We have that, but there's also a group with it. And so, again, like Kevin said, he was collaborating with another one of my clients, and now they can give each other work. And that's the whole network in the community that I wanted to build. And so we also all went out to have dinner.
mhm.
And it's just an experience that you won't get anywhere else because people aren't building communities. But I want to build a community of like-minded individuals like Kevin who are on a path to success. So thank you for sharing that as well, Kevin, because that's super important to me. And I know it's super important to everybody else in the community as well. And then just getting into some of the results though, because we talked a little bit about why you joined the program and how many times you saw me in like Instagram ads, but let's talk about the results too. So with the program so far over these 3 months, how much have you actually spent on ads, and then how much have you actually made on these ads?
So far we spent, and I guess 3.5 months, right? We're closing on the
Yeah,
four. We've only spent $1,400 in ads, right? And that hasn't been, to be honest with everybody who's watching, that's been consistent for like, 2 months. And then I had to go ahead and pause the ads. So it's been on and off, but still 1,400 being spent, right? And the return, the first, the first seven or the first 7 days I had a lead. The first seven
Okay.
days I had a lead, and then after that, I believe it was in 2 weeks, I was actually gonna make my return on my investment back. So that was the first deal that we got, which was about 7K or 8K. I don't really
Hmm.
remember, it was such a long time ago, but I do know that I made my return on my investment the first 2 weeks. And then overall within the, excuse me, the 3.5 months, we made $48,000. And that's just within, a few leads that we were able to go ahead and communicate with, and that wasn't at the 100% capacity of where we should be with having our assistant in place for my company
Right.
that we need to have. So, we already made, 10x pretty much of the return on the investment
Yeah.
that we started. And the goal is to double that, right? And make sure that our ducks are in place.
Right. Yeah. And then you spent 1,400 and you made 40. I just did the math really quick, but that's 28x return on your ad spend. So amazing. Like that's absolutely amazing. And that means for every $1,000 that you would actually put in, you would get $28,000 back. It's absolutely insane. And so that's just the power of Instagram ads. We've been running what, 3 ads for you right now.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and again, it's just being able to show up over and over and over and over again to people in this radius that we set for the ads. And that's what Kevin does. So when people see him one time, they're again like, who is this guy? I've been looking for a contractor, but I don't really know who this guy is. They see him again, a different ad. They're like, wait, he's working with this person. Then they see him again. And that's when they reach out to him and they say, hey, I feel like I trust you. I've just seen you 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And that's how these Instagram ads work. So when we first actually started the ads, what were your thoughts before we started them and how they would work and like if they would work? And then what were your thoughts after we actually started them?
Well, the first time we had our first meeting, I was ready to go as far as it was just, making sure the budget was in place, trying to find a structured program for the investment, and we made it work. That was something that it wasn't an issue, right? So coming into this, some people might not have the funds to allocate up front, but Elijah's very flexible. It's about communicating and being transparent. At the end of the day, he's willing to work with you if you're willing to put in the work and actually do your part, right? Essentially, there needs to be a relationship between the client, which is myself here and Elijah, and we had that from the start. And then after that, I didn't really have any uncertainties after shooting the content because I know Jose too. And also, I was just in a position where I knew Jose and just had a good feeling about working with you. And then initially when we shot our first interview, I was just a little nervous myself because the script, it was a little bit different than how
Right.
I normally shoot content. So it took
Yeah.
me a while to kind of, nail that, but it was very comfortable. It was organized. It was structured. It was a whole production team at the end of the day that was there, and that's kind of probably what made it a little bit more intense for me instead of going off the top of my head because we
Yeah.
shoot content just as we go and like real life content. And again, this is specific for an ad for a reason, so it does have the structure and the meaning and the execution behind it. So I like that a lot. And then after that, just kind of trusted the process, running the ads and setting everything up that we needed to set up correctly. And you showed me how to do that. It was very simple, and it's still easy to accommodate, make these adjustments too if we need to increase the ad spend or
Right.
anything along those lines. So everything was punctual and it was said and done when you committed to it. So that just made everything easier. You didn't delay anything. You didn't
Right.
flake on our appointments. You were always consistent and you would communicate things correctly. So that's what I look at when anybody that I work with, right? And I'm sure everybody else does, right? Just being a man of your word and executing to a plan that you have, and you did everything that we needed to do, and then I just did my
Mhm.
part. So
Right.
it's not that difficult at the end of the day, And if you have,
Yeah.
just have the keys to what we need to do, and that's what we're doing.
Right. It's not that difficult. It's just most people won't do the simple things consistently. It takes dedication. It takes that consistency, like I said. So most people won't do it, but it's not that hard, guys. Like you can hear from Kevin, he's already learned how to do most of this stuff. He's making good content. Wasn't really that good at the scripted content at first, but now when he's just making more and more videos that are scripted, he's doing a lot better. It just takes time and consistency. And
Yeah, our
so
second one was a lot better.
yeah, exactly. It
Yeah.
went a lot better. So, I mean, also a lot of people, they think it costs a lot of money to run ads, but how much did we actually start off a day with when we're running these ads?
We started at $20 a day, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
it
started at
was
20
$20.
and we're not even at, I'm not pushing what you're pushing. I'm only at $40 a day now. Still,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
So I can imagine when I push to like 50, 80, 100. So, I mean, obviously there's a strategy behind it. I'm just following what you're saying to do, but we really haven't really touched the surface that we need to be at.
exactly.
So
Exactly. Yeah,
that just comes to show that, those $20 that you're investing, stop going out buying the copier, stop buying the things that you don't need. Because I have to catch myself too at times. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna put this $20 into my ads rather than buying something I don't need to buy, right? That's,
exactly.
is you either have to sacrifice temptation for right now that's temporary, or the $20 that will bring you triple the amount of money, right? So, and then you can buy whatever you wanted and more, right? So
Exactly.
it's just really about being financially smart and just having that discipline at the end of the day, discipline throughout everything that you do with your life. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. So it's not that expensive. It's $600 again. You have to pay to play. You need to be able to spend at least $600 a month on ads. But the whole point of these ads is to get that return. Again, we're not buying purses, we're not buying cars with it.
Mhm.
That's not going to make your money back. We're spending it on your business that is actually going to get you that return. That's why we do it. So I know there's
Yeah.
also a lot of other people that are just on the fence about joining the program. And I know you didn't really have any hesitations. You knew it was going to work. And that's honestly just the type of person you are. You had full, authority and conviction that this is going to work. So not everybody's like that. But what would you say to the people that are on the fence about joining the program? Maybe they're hesitating because they don't know if the ads are going to work or just any other, things that they have coming up there in minds, their limiting beliefs. What would you say to those people who are on the fence?
To the people who are on the fence, first off, it works. The ads work. There's a blueprint behind it, there's structure behind it. This is something that has been in motion and in action for a couple months with just myself and other people that are coming, right? So first off, it works. And the second thing, my biggest advice is to anybody that has seen this video and is afraid to take it, to do it is actually, you have to invest in yourself. At the end of the day is if you don't pull the trigger and make this move to invest in yourself and no one else is going to do it for you, at the end of the day is you have to believe in yourself and have faith in yourself. And also in Elijah and the person that you're going to be working with to make these ads and this content to be successful. Because if you don't believe in the person or if you guys don't have the relationship, it's not going to work out, right? But you need to make sure that if you don't do this now, then you're not going to do it next week, you're not going to do it next month, right? So by the time you delay that process, you're delaying time to make money and you're missing out on so much opportunity that someone else can take. If you're a contractor watching this, too late. I already beat you to it because I'm the one they're seeing, right? So it's just how the game works, right? You have to be consistent at everything that you do and just start. There's never a perfect time. And at the end of the day, so it's just really investing in yourself and, not being afraid at the end of the day. The return on the investment is going to come back, whether it might not be as fast as mine, 2 weeks, 3 weeks or whatever, but it all depends on you. Obviously there's sales behind it too that you have to be able to know how to sell, how to communicate with people, and have built a relationship with your prospect client, right? So that's one thing that people should know too, watching this, Elijah, is that you can give them, the tools and the resources, but at the end of the day, is you're not going to be able to close that sale for them. You're giving them the blueprint, the structure that they need to go ahead and do, but they also need to invest in themselves and learn how to close these deals with people, to make that return on investment. And that's a process that they need to learn too. But as far as the leads and the purpose of joining this program, you will have leads. You will have substantial leads every week. They'll be visiting your website. They'll be calling you, text messaging you, any way they can communicate with you. It's gonna come in. So,
Right, right. And you got to have an abundance mindset too. So Kevin was the first contractor to do this. And again, that's definitely why he's going to get the best results. Like, there's no question about that. But that doesn't mean that nobody else can do this because at the end of the day, there's going to be people that resonate with Kevin,
hmm
but there's also going to be people that resonate with somebody else, with another contractor. So it's all about abundance. If you always are worrying about your competition, what they're doing, then you're going to be stuck in that mindset and you're going to be stuck in the amount of revenue that you're making right now. So the moment you stop worrying about other competition and you focus on what you're doing, that's the moment you start winning. But Kevin, I
Mhm.
appreciate you hopping on, man, doing this interview. It was very, very nice talking with you again. And so there's big things coming, and I'm very excited for all of them. But guys, if you are tired of being stuck with the same revenue and you actually want to start scaling your business, you know social media is the way to go. You're tired of it. You just, you have the time, you're able to actually invest in yourself, then book a call down below. We can talk and make a plan. So again, thank you, Kevin. It was very nice talking with you.
Well, make sure you guys follow Elijah and follow us at Villa Exteriors DMV.